welcome to another episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. Folks, we've got a lot of news to get to. Plenty has happened in the world of football, in sports, in movies, and entertainment, and in odd news as well. So we've got a jam-packed show, even though it's pretty straightforward. If you've kept your ear to the ground to any news, you pretty much know what we're going to talk about on this week's episode. Free agency, Oscars, odd news.
Yep.
That's that simple.
Short and sweet, but a lot to get to.
Yep. So before we get into all three of those big topics, Mikey, my friend, how you doing? How's Reese's Land? You've got your Reese's shirt on.
I mean, yes, because chocolate and peanut butter is, I think, one of the best combinations ever.
That keeps you going?
Yeah. I mean, if there's a candy that has peanut butter in it, I'm immediately more positive towards it than not.
Okay.
Agree or disagree?
I mean, peanut butter's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
But you're a dark chocolate person in general.
I usually go dark chocolate, yeah.
So if it's milk chocolate with peanut butter,
That's fine.
Or dark chocolate, no, which way would you go?
Oh, I would dark chocolate.
Really?
Yeah.
More than something with peanut butter?
Oh, you're saying only dark chocolate versus milk chocolate with peanut butter.
Right.
I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess it depends on what mood I'm in, but probably still dark chocolate.
Still dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do. I love a good dark chocolate.
You really do love dark chocolate.
Yeah. It's.
You like there's kind of like a bitterness to it.
Yeah, I like just that hint
like a slight
of it.
edge.
Yeah.
Not,
it's an edge.
Not like the very.
Ooh, makes me sound important. Ooh, edge.
Yes.
Ooh, I'm living on the edge. Ooh, yeah.
Living on the edge.
While eating my chocolate.
Living fast and large.
Yeah. Living slow, dying young on chocolates. That's
living
my motto.
slow, die young.
Die young on chocolates. Rich Liebig.
Now that is a campaign slogan we can get behind.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I got the Reese's shirt on. I've just been trying to keep up with everything in the news, honestly.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That was basically like the past few days for me. It was just keeping up with the news.
Yeah. We've been doing a lot of texting. There's a lot of news happening.
Yeah, it's, oh my God, did you hear this? Oh my God, did you hear this? Oh my
Yeah.
God. But other than that, I've really just not been up to all that much. But what about you? Because I know you've been dabbling in a new game recently.
Yes, I started Talos Principle 2, which I love the first one. And it was a very interesting experience when I booted up the second game, and the tutorial level was the exact same game as the first one, and I was like,
yeah.
Did I download the wrong game? Like, what is happening here? But it was good. They did it on purpose to throw a little curveball at you.
Little wrench into the works. Yeah, I played the trial, and that was the trial. I was like, I feel like this is just the same thing over again, and then it kind of opens everything else up, and you're like, oh, okay, there's a whole other layer to it.
Yeah. So I'm on my way with Talos Principle 2. I'm
Nice.
I think about a quarter done. So
it's a bit of a shorter game, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a puzzle game, so it's not too long.
No. But,
It's not like a Baldur's Gate or a Final Fantasy or.
But I love philosophical games, so
Yeah.
highly recommend Talos Principle if you can.
It's a fantastic little series. I feel like nobody ever talks about it.
Yeah.
Here's another one for you. If you like philosophy and you like puzzle games, once you're done Talos Principle 2, look up I think it's the Forgotten City.
Oh, I did see a preview for that.
It's really, really good. I played that I think 2 or 3 years ago. You play the same day over and over again, and then rewind time, and then change things in the world and with the people to try and get a different outcome. There's way more to it than that. That's just a very high level.
Yeah, I
gameplay.
think you mentioned that in This Week in Entertainment.
Yeah, you gotta try it. It's really, really cool.
All right, well, there you go. That's our video game plans.
Yeah.
But you know what? We need to just dive right into the news. There's so much happening, so let's launch.
Don't delay it.
Yeah, let's launch into the first segment, the Sports Sampler.
So you're not good at sports. It's a very small part of life.
Sports. In your face. Ha ha!
Sports coming at you in your face, and we've got a lot of things coming at your face in this first segment. NFL is just going bonkers right now. Free agency has, I guess, started, but not really, because I think the first official day is this week or something.
It's the tampering period.
Yeah.
Which I always thought was weird. Why don't you just start it on the
Yeah.
day when tampering starts.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know why
we
it's
got to do this weird sort of.
it's like sort of started, but not really. Like
Well, no, it is started because
All of-
basically everything's done.
all of the deals are getting done. They're not official until the league year starts.
Yeah, but
Whenever that
as
is,
far
but
as we're
it's-
concerned, they're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And there's been a lot of moves.
Yes,
But
but-
before we get to the moves,
yeah, no, we got the most important move.
which is,
The fact that we may have to talk about politics for the first time.
are we starting off there?
Yeah, because
Okay, get that out of the way.
I tell you what, the biggest move might be Aaron Rodgers being moved onto a presidential ticket.
I did not think that I'd be seeing this headline, but this happened as of the day of recording that Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers, is on a short list. This is from ESPN.com, on a short list to be the running mate of independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
That's a yes.
Yes, it feels like everything has just been shaken up, and we did like a Mad Libs.
Oh.
And there you go. There's a statement.
This is official. The domain name KennyRogers.com was registered last week.
What? Kenny Rogers?
Kennedy Rogers.
Oh, Kennedy Rogers.
KennedyRogers.com.
Oh
was,
my God.
So they're preparing just in case. It is so serious that they've made sure they've locked down the domain for the website.
All right.
I'm trying to stay calm.
The only thing we're waiting on then is, I guess, Aaron Rodgers to go into his darkness retreat to determine whether or not he's going to be the vice president of the United States.
I'm in the dark here.
So, dear God.
Would that be hilarious if he's like, "Thanks for the run, New York, but I gotta go.
No.
I got a jet."
How about no? I'm going to do both.
He's going to do both,
I'm going to
which leads me to my next question.
I'm going to be a vice presidential candidate and the starting quarterback for the New
Because-
York Jets.
Which leads me to this question, which is actually what prompted this discussion. Candidates get Secret Service protection. So if he is a candidate for vice president, how does NFL games work? Could sacking the quarterback be considered like an assault on him? Does Secret Service follow him onto the field to protect him?
Yes, he gets
Are players allowed to hit him?
He gets a second offensive line.
Is a face mask penalty a 15-yard penalty, but also jail time?
Yeah, you got to report to the FBI.
No, I mean, joking aside, though, it's a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, this is some.
It's weird, right?
What are we doing? It's 2024, and literally nothing makes sense.
We started saying that in 2019, and we ruined everything.
Yeah, it literally is now. Nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
So we did some research on this. Secret Service has a duty to protect major presidential candidates.
Right.
So unfortunately, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he's running as an independent.
He's not a major candidate.
No, he is not a major candidate.
He's a little minor candidate.
So he does not get Secret Service protection. But I know we're getting into politics here, and I swore we would never get into politics.
What if he wins?
What? No. What if? No. You're missing a more obvious path here.
Oh, okay.
Trump does not have a VP as of this week.
Oh. You think...
If Aaron Rodgers is throwing his hat into VP conversations, why not go under Trump?
Yeah.
Run under the Republican ticket, and then he can get Secret Service protection that would be a major presidential candidate.
Right. And candidates get Secret Service protection for 120 days before the election, which would be preseason, September, October, and the first week of November.
That's 9 or 10 games.
That's a solid chunk of the season. I mean, you start 9-0 because the other team is literally not allowed to touch.
They cannot sack your quarterback.
But then let's take this from politics back to football. Strategy-wise, do you just drop 11 into coverage then if you're not allowed to sack the quarterback? Assuming they're not allowed to hit him.
I mean, I guess that's what you have to do because you're not going to get a sack.
You just drop 11 guys.
Yeah.
And you say, let's see how smart you really are to pick apart this.
Right. You have to try. This is like a weird bastard form of the game. Yeah. You have to try and throw. Yeah, I mean, well, the good part is with 11
you double cover
men,
everyone.
You can double cover almost everybody.
And you keep one guy to spy Rodgers to kind of just stand in his way.
How many
if he rushes.
How many offensive linemen do you have to put out on the field? Is it 5?
You have to do that's a good question.
I think it might be 3.
Yeah, I don't think you have to do. Well, they can't all be eligible receivers.
Oh, yeah, good point.
So because there's that weird formation where it's like the A11 or whatever it's called, where they put like everybody on one side.
Yeah, the swinging gate. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. So you can only have 5 eligible receivers,
Okay.
but you could do 3 linemen, and then everybody else is just like a skill position player, and it could cause confusion. Not all of them will run routes or be eligible, but for the defense, they wouldn't know. I like this.
This
I
is
think
weird.
I think it should happen.
This is a weird bastardized world we've.
I'm
clawed up here.
officially, just for the sake of the football strategy, I'm officially saying that Aaron Rodgers should run on the Trump ticket as vice president. Is that weird that I just said that?
Yes, it is. We never thought.
Those
oh my
words,
God.
that sounds made up.
I
That sounds
literally-
worse than Mad Libs. Rich just threw up in his mouth a
I
little
threw
bit.
up in my mouth a little bit at that sentence. Dear God, we've
Just the
covered.
thought of it, you're like, oh God.
We have covered so many topics,
Never one like this.
and yeah,
This is weirder than some odd news.
Yes, I almost threw up in my mouth. This is some weird stuff we're going down, but let's go.
This is ESPN. This is ESPN.com.
Right, to go back, we do have a legitimate headline here. That Aaron Rodgers.
The Times is reporting the domain name registration. It's happening, or it could happen.
There's a chance.
It's out there.
There is a puncher's chance that this could happen. Wow.
What a world we live in.
What
I don't know what kind of world it is.
How does Aaron Rodgers find the time to do all this side stuff? Between he was Jeopardy host.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing?
So, serious football topic. Aaron Rodgers is going to suck this year, right?
It's going to be rough.
I mean,
think it's going to be rough
he's
for him.
40, coming off of an Achilles. Hasn't played football in like.
He's going to need that second offensive line.
Yeah. He's going to need the Secret Service protection.
Yeah.
And then he's like partially in politics. Is he really studying up? He never ran the Jets offense. Like he moved there. He played 4 snaps. Has he studied it? Has he learned it? Has he practiced it? I think that New York is going to be in for a rude awakening with Aaron Rodgers this year.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. Just rolling the dice. There's a greater than 50% chance that he's not good.
I don't like quarterbacks that are doing side stuff,
Side hustles.
going crazy
Yeah.
and being outlandish.
You're a former NFL MVP and Super Bowl winner. You shouldn't have side hustles.
Not if you're going to play another season.
Yeah.
If he's going to retire, all right, go ahead.
At 40, you need to be 100% in this because you can't risk being 90% in and then getting injured. You're 40. Like, it's going to happen. You need to be in it.
Unless you get the Secret Service on you.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Should we check out KennedyRogers.com? I can't believe there's probably nothing there right now, but the fact they've registered the domain and he's been having, according to this article, having pretty continuously conversations for the past few months. This is wild.
Yeah.
This is wild.
How do
He can't make it up.
How do you find time to learn the offense and, and be a vice presidential candidate on the side?
I have no idea. One of those jobs is going to suffer.
Yes.
I don't know which one.
Right.
One of those jobs is going to
There's
suffer.
not enough bandwidth.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
Yeah.
I could barely do my one job. I can't imagine being able to do both of these.
Dear Lord. All right. So we just came across that headline right before we hit the record button on the show. So that was fun.
That was different.
Everything is just out of whack.
So stupid.
But now let's get to free agency because that is happening right now.
Yeah. Well, before free agency, we do have to talk about one big Eagles news topic that happened.
Mike's going to try and bring us serious now.
Well, we have to. Fletcher Cox officially
Yes.
announced his retirement.
Yes.
He gave enough room
legend.
to Kelsey to do his whole thing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Fletcher Cox has been almost forgotten in the whole shuffle between
Yeah,
Kelsey and free agency?
Yeah, Kelsey had like a full press conference.
And multiple, the videos are everywhere.
Yeah, I guess Fletcher Cox didn't want to have a big send off because he just seemed like, all right, just send it out on a Sunday. It was like a Sunday morning too.
Yeah,
It was just
it was like a long Instagram post.
Yeah, that's all I want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all I wanted.
He seemed like that, he was more like the quiet behind the scenes kind of leader, where Jason Kelsey was more like face of the team kind of leader,
Yeah.
you know?
So I guess maybe that fits him better if that's what he wanted.
But another leader gone. There's only 4 players from that Super Bowl team in 2017 left on the roster.
Well, one of them is Brandon Graham, and he resigned.
He did resign. We got one more year of Brandon Graham. From the beginning, he said he wanted to play 15 seasons of football, preferably all in the same city and all in Philadelphia. This is his 15th season. So this is it. This is the victory lap, right?
Yeah.
Let's make it a good one for him at least.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. This Eagles team is going through a lot of changes.
Big changes ahead, right?
Yeah.
Are you nervous that so much is changing in the trenches when for our entire lives it's been a source of consistency and quality? And I expect it to continue, but these two guys, Kelsey and Cox, have been playing together for 12 years on either side. I mean, what do you think?
I think there's going to be a step back.
It'd be hard not to have one, right?
Yeah, I think there's going to be growing pains this upcoming season. There's going to be a lot of changes happening. This is not going to be the same team that we've followed for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Especially on the offensive line, people have to keep in mind we're basically replacing 2 spots because Cam Jurgens is sliding inside. Yes, he was selected to play center. Yes, that is his natural position. But I still think there's going to be a learning curve there. You know, to the speed of the NFL game, snapping the ball, getting in sync with Jalen Hurts, and then you have to plug somebody in at right guard. So you're effectively not like lacking at 2 positions, but 2 positions are going to be a little bit of a question mark on the offensive line for the first time in a long time.
They also did re-sign Landon Dickerson, so that was also a nice move.
They did. They shored up the left side. The left side is solid. You don't got to worry about the left side for a while. Between Mailata and Dickerson, that's locked in for the next couple of years. We got Lane Johnson for at least maybe another year or 2. He's like 33.
Yep.
Any year now, he could decide, you know what? I want to ride off into the sunset.
He's had a lot of injuries, too.
He has. You know, he could go another 2 or 3. Will he? I hope. But you never know.
No. I think there needs to be a lowering of expectations this upcoming season. I think the Eagles are going to be a little bit falling a little bit behind. I think the Cowboys are going to be falling a little bit behind.
You've been saying for a while.
The Giants, I don't know what they're doing. I think they're going to be in the basement. The only team I see with positive growth is really Washington. I don't know.
Speaking of free agency, they've signed a lot of players.
Yes.
I don't have a list of them because it's pretty much all of free agency, but they've made big changes.
Yeah. And they have a whole new ownership now. They've shaken off the dirt of Dan Snyder off of them. They're a brand new team, brand new head coach,
and
number 2 overall pick.
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff to work with. What I like about their free agency signings is that they're just safe. Like they're not flashy signings. They're not like breaking the bank signings. They're just safe, reasonable signings. And at one point I was like, oh, am I getting vibes of Dream Team here? But I don't think so because the Dream Team was a whole bunch of splashy signings, but the Commanders are doing the opposite. They're doing a lot of smaller, reasonable, like sensible deals.
No, I think the Eagles are doing more Dream Team signings.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So should we get to the actual moving and shaking of Howie Roseman in the offseason?
So far.
So let's start with some of the key losses here. The big one, of course, Chicago Bears have signed away running back DeAndre Swift to a 3-year, $24 million deal. I know you're pretty shaken up about that. You like DeAndre Swift.
I thought he was doing great here in Philadelphia. I thought for sure he could have been a staple in that offense.
I thought they didn't use him enough in the pass game. And I guess, they wanted to keep him. The number wasn't right for them for DeAndre Swift. So they had to let him walk. The Eagles are also, at the time of recording, actively shopping both Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. They were not happy with the production of the defensive ends in the last stretch of the season. From what I've read, they did not like the way that they pursued sacks instead of, run support, that the production wasn't there. So they're trying to get something for these 2 premier rushers. What do you think about potentially losing one or both of them.
I think that's a sign that Vic Fangio wants to go to a 3-4.
That's what we were talking about off the show.
That's another big change.
You're shedding guys off the defensive line. Cox retires, shopping Reddick and Sweat. You know, the only thing that I can think of is you're clearing cap space and roster spots for more linebackers and edge players. You know, those guys that can kind of play either stand-up pass rusher off the edge in a 3-4 or down as a defensive end.
Yeah.
So, you know, could be looking at something like that.
That is not what we've seen from this Eagles team.
In my entire life, we've only played a 4-3 base.
I think Chip Kelly tried to do that one season. I think he tried a 3-4. I don't know. It's very tough to pull that off. You really got to have versatile linebackers, and we don't have any.
Well, it is still a big target for the Eagles in free agency. Let's get to some of the moves that the Eagles have made to bolster their roster. A few quick ones out of the way. We mentioned they re-signed Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson to a 4-year, $84 million deal. This is a record-setting deal for interior linemen. They also re-signed punter Brandon Mann to a 2-year, $4 million deal. That's pretty good. They got some offensive line depth, signing Matt Hennessy to a 1-year deal. But let's get to some of the big moves here. First one, talking about those edge rushers, they signed New York Jets edge Bryce Huff to a 3-year, $51.1 million deal. This is the highest paid non-quarterback undrafted free agent in NFL history. They really like this kid. He's young, lots of good production with, I think he had 10 sacks last year. The Jets had that fantastic defense, so they're getting a premier player from a good defense. What do you think? Is this enough to replace the retirement of Fletcher Cox and the possible departure of Reddick and Sweat?
Well, I don't know if he's going to make up for all three of those players, but I think he's going to be the...
No, him singularly.
I think he's going to be a cornerstone of the 2024 defense coming up. He's definitely somebody you can build a team around.
Could this also be one of those moves to a 3-4, like have him kind of be like a stand-up defensive end kind of player?
I have a feeling, I think Vic wants to do a 3-4.
And I think that's kind of the way of the NFL. You know, offenses have been going very pass-heavy. 3 wide receivers is basically the default. So you're automatically in a lighter box. You know, you're playing nickel already. So, you know, the transition to 3-4 makes sense. But can the Eagles actually pull it off is the issue, obviously. Well, something that may help play a more pass-focused defense is a solid defensive back. And
oh, yeah.
The Eagles, they did something. They...
That's a good way to put it.
You know, out of all these moves, this is the one that is the most head-scratching to me. They signed former Detroit Lions and former Philadelphia Eagles safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
This is very problematic because he trashed...
For fans in the know...
He trashed Philadelphia on his way out of here last year to Detroit.
On his way out, he was mad the Eagles didn't give him a big contract, to re-sign. So he left for Detroit, said that Philadelphia was awful, the fans were the worst. You know, the front office was terrible for not giving him a deal. The fans are terrible. The city is disgusting. They stole his car or something. Something happened with his car.
Yeah, he mentioned something happened with his car,
And now he's back on a 3-year, $27 million deal. Is this awkward? Are we getting back with the X? What's happening here?
Yeah. This does sound like, you're getting back with an X.
Are you excited for this move? Do you think it could be any kind of positive or
I mean, look, if he's willing to...
He's a warm body.
What a benchmark.
That's what our defensive backfield needs.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, if he's willing to play his heart out on that, on that side of the ball, then all right. Because, it's tough right now. I don't know if there's any other big names out there in terms of defensive backs.
Yeah,
we missed out on
the big one from the Giants, McKinney.
Yeah, McKinney. I think Howie was targeting him, and he missed out on
so too.
him.
His price tag was just too much. We are still in the market for defensive backs. I've heard one name, safety Justin Simmons from the Broncos. He's a little bit older at 30, but he's all-pro, Pro Bowl type caliber player. I've heard his name mentioned. Nothing has moved on that. But in terms of Gardner Johnson, he does have familiarity with the team and some players. He's still young at 26, and he is a fast, versatile player. I just the awkwardness is weird. I mean, if they can get past that,
is his heart going to be in it?
Is his heart going to be in it? Because he really did not have a positive thing to say leaving the team. And I understand he felt upset, jilted, whatever. But is he going to be able to get his head right and play with that type of, I don't know, loyalty, camaraderie? I don't know what you want to call it, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, it's a big question mark.
When he played for us, he was good.
Yes.
So
he was a big role in the Super Bowl run. Yeah,
he did, and he's not the most willing tackler, but in terms of coverage, where we really struggle, he can definitely help that secondary. But enough of Gardner Johnson, because the real big news here is, of course, the splash signing that you were referring to. The Eagles stole away New York Giants star running back Saquon Barkley, signing him to a 3-year, $37.75 million deal.
Oh, good for you.
This has been a little bit of a contentious signing for you, Rich.
Yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead.
I am.
Tell me.
I'm leery about this one.
Okay.
Because if there is one position that you've got to keep an eye on when it comes to age, it's running back. And
That's
I know
true.
he's 27, and that sounds young, but you're signing him now to a 3-year deal?
3-year, yeah.
3-year deal. So by the end of this, he's going to be nearing 30. He's had injuries to start off his career. Luckily, the last 2 seasons he's been pretty healthy, but that's just a big if. Look, if he stays healthy, then the gamble pays off. But if it doesn't, I just see this as DeMarco Murray all over again. This is DeMarco Murray part 2.
So
you steal a running back from a division opponent.
Yeah.
Number one, same scenario. Some injuries happen, and he just never gets back to the form that he was when you first saw him and you were first enamored by him.
Right. Well, let me hopefully quell some of your fears. Because when I first saw the news, I was like, wow, that's a curious move. But the more I thought about it, the more I sat with it, I can sort of see where the Eagles' thinking is. So the going rate for running backs this offseason has been like between $8 and $10 million a year. So it's not a dramatic overpay. It's well within the market. You're paying a little bit of a premium for... You all right there?
Yes, I'm fine. Yes.
Okay. You're paying a little bit of a premium for a known, proven star quality. And I think that's the biggest difference between DeMarco Murray and Saquon Barkley. DeMarco Murray had like 1.5 good years. Saquon Barkley has had consistent success on terrible teams. DeMarco Murray had 2 good years with very, very good Dallas teams. Saquon Barkley was the team for the Giants for a long time. Now, age and injury are concerns, but 27, you can get at least 1 or 2 years. We know with Howie, a 3-year deal is never a 3-year deal. It's going to be like a 2-year deal. And depending on I don't know how the cap numbers break down, but I'm sure I trust in Howie to structure it so that we're not in too big of a hole should we need to get rid of Barkley ahead of when the contract expires.
Oh, so you're saying this is really a 2-year contract?
I'm thinking this is really a 2-year contract.
And the 3rd year is like a dead cap void year.
Something like that. Or a potential out, because only $26 million is guaranteed. And I don't know how that's been spread out over the 3 years or void years, but I have to imagine that it's done smartly because they know that he's going to be approaching 30. The biggest reason why I like this is the same reason that I mentioned earlier about that new look offensive line. For the past 13 years, you could plug and play. You knew what you were getting. They moved from Jason Peters, future Hall of Fame left tackle, to Jordan Mailata, current All-Pro Pro Bowl left tackle. Jason Kelsey has been a rock. Lane Johnson has been a rock. All of a sudden, big question marks in the very middle of the offensive line. So what does signing a big bruiser running back do for you? You're guaranteed 2 to 3 yards of handoff, regardless of how the line plays. You take pressure off of Hurts and his legs to get those tush-push yards. And you're just helping out the offense in general, helping out that new look offensive line, helping out those perimeter players, because now the defense has to respect that this isn't just some, fringe star running back. The past couple, like Miles Sanders was good.
Yeah, then he went to Panthers.
For audio listeners, quote unquote good.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift was quote unquote good. He broke 1,000 yards, but just barely. Was he underutilized? Yes. Did the Eagles have injury concerns and maybe limit his playing? Also, yes.
Well, Saquon Barkley didn't crack 1,000 last year.
But the Giants were also, terrible, So I think that we have to look at it in the context of the Eagles have way more talent just everywhere on the offense. And the Giants you got Daniel Jones,
Yeah.
or Tommy Cutlets. It's going to be a really bad... The box is going to be perpetually stacked. You have nothing to take the heat off of Saquon. The line is terrible. He comes here, back home to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he's from the Lehigh Valley.
He's got something to play for, something to prove, gets to face the Giants twice a year. And like I said, he has had way more success than DeMarco Murray had at the point when we signed him. So hopefully that quells some of your fears. Some, but not all.
No.
You,
But interesting.
Okay. I think the biggest reason they went with Saquon is because the offensive line is changing as much as it is.
I think they went with him just to screw New York over.
There's also that.
Just really...
that's a good reason.
Just put another dagger into New York while they're down.
Well, Dallas wanted Saquon.
Well,
And Dallas lost Tony Pollard. So you're really screwing over two division rivals.
Dallas missed out on
Dallas has
Derrick Henry. They really wanted Derrick Henry.
Dallas has an empty Gatorade jug as a running back. They don't have anybody.
How I don't know. I do not know how the Cowboys missed out on Derrick Henry. I would have thought that was a slam dunk.
They lost Tony Pollard. They whiffed on Saquon. They couldn't outbid for Derrick Henry. What are they going to do?
Is Jerry Jones alive? Has anybody actually seen Jerry Jones? Because they have done nothing during this free agency period.
They've only lost players.
Yeah. Is he stuck in the glory hole?
I want me some glory hole.
I think that's what happened to him.
Oh, man.
He hasn't come out. He went in there. He hasn't come back out.
And it is a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
He's still stuck in there.
He's stuck in the glory hole.
Someone help him.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know what Dallas is doing. They haven't done anything.
No.
They've literally done nothing. At the time of recording, they've made no moves other than to lose players.
Yeah. Except pay Dak another $60 million because he's on the last year of his contract.
At least we talked about it in previous weeks, but the fact that they haven't extended him is absolutely ludicrous.
I mean,
because you lost Tony Pollard and you're not extending Dak. So next year, what are you going to crazy overpay Dak now?
No, they're probably going to let him walk.
So you won't have a quarterback or a running back. They're going to try the very rare offense of having
nobody. Start over.
Oh man,
I don't know. At this rate, it just doesn't seem like that they have faith in Dak Prescott anymore.
They haven't been major players for anything.
Yeah.
They've tried, but they've accomplished nothing. So
all right,
well,
so
we will see how those moves shake out.
That's all the Eagles-centric free agency news. Let's get to the rest of the league because there's been shockwaves everywhere else. More on the quarterbacks because that's really what makes the headlines. Here's one. Oh my gosh! Just out of nowhere, Russell Wilson is going to sign with the Steelers on a cheap $1 million deal because he's going to get paid $35 million from the Broncos.
Yeah.
And guess what?
I mean, why not?
Did you look on the schedule?
No, what?
Broncos face the Steelers.
Oh, they do?
There is going to be a game this year where a team is paying $35 million to the other guy's quarterback.
I love it. That is
happening this year. What is happening? This is the weirdest timeline that we have been living in.
They're going to be gunning for him. They got something to prove, the Broncos, right?
$35 million you are going to pay Russell Wilson for him to face you.
Man.
What is this logic?
Russell Wilson's career has been so weird. I don't understand anything about this guy. At one point, he was considered like a top 5 quarterback. And in the past couple of years, he went from like top 5 to bottom 5. He's a laughing stock.
Yeah.
But that's why the Steelers, I think if you're the Steelers, you have to take this deal. $1.2 million for Russell Wilson.
It's a free shot.
It's a free shot. You know, you might as well. But that move sent a shockwave across the NFL because it kind of like upended the entire quarterback market.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden you had guys moving every which way. Kirk Cousins leaves the Vikings.
Yeah, your boy.
My
Here
boy
he
Kirk
is. We're going
Cousins.
to get into Kirk Cousins.
He leaves the
Here we
Vikings
go.
to sign a 4-year, $180 million deal with the Atlanta Falcons.
What a shocker!
There you go. It's your boy, Mike.
What a shocker!
If he plays out the Falcons deal, he will have accumulated over $410 million of guaranteed earnings.
Who would have guessed? Like, surprise! Like, Jesus Christ!
If you had to say,
That was actual audio of you hearing the news that he signed to another guaranteed contract. That was you.
Who would have guessed? Like, surprise! Like, Jesus Christ!
it probably was back in the day. I don't remember what that was audio was from, but it probably was. But if you had to say, Mike, name one quarterback you think deserved $410 million of guaranteed money over the course of his playing career, never in a million years would I have had said Kirk Cousins.
No.
Would you?
I would say Kirk Cousins' agent.
Kirk Cousins' agent. That man's the real MVP.
He deserves $410 million of guaranteed money.
The NFL MVP for 2024 should be Kirk Cousins' agent.
Yes.
Because every time this happens, I look up Kirk Cousins' stats and, like, what is the ultimate measure of whether or not a player is good is whether they can help their teams win. And he just doesn't help his teams win.
No.
I mean, that's the long and the short of it. Like,
He has one playoff win, right?
he has, I think it was 4 playoff appearances, 1 win in 12 seasons.
That's it.
He's had 2 10-win seasons in 12 seasons. Jalen Hurts has been playing for 3 years. He has the same number of double-digit win seasons and more playoff wins. Dak Prescott, who we love to roast, also more 10-win seasons, more playoff appearances and wins. And Dallas can't win playoff. Dallas sucks in the playoffs. I'm just saying.
So
I don't get it.
So Kirk Cousins, 4 years, $180 million deal with the Falcons. $100 million of that is guaranteed. So Kirk Cousins going to be buying all the lap dances in Atlanta.
Oh, he's going to have a great time in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you say he was religious?
I thought so.
Well, guess what? He's going to find a new religion in Atlanta because it's the Strip City capital.
The religion of strippers.
Yeah, he's going to find a new religion down there.
I mean, go for it. Have
Yeah.
have yourself a good time.
Yeah.
But the quarterback market is just all over the place. Mac Jones moving from New England to Jacksonville. Baker Mayfield re-signing with Tampa. There were a few other moves I forgot to put in the rundown just because there were so many. I think the Raiders are thinking about cutting Jimmy G.
Yeah.
There's just quarterbacks flying every which way, but there's one quarterback who is staying firmly planted, and that's really the crux of this whole conversation. Chicago Bears quarterback Justin Fields.
Oof.
What's going on? The Bears have 2 top 10 picks in the draft. They, for some reason, still
They
don't
have
know.
2 top 10 picks.
Yeah, that's
The
what I
number
said.
1 and
2
number 9.
Yeah, 2 top 10 picks. They still, for some reason, don't know whether or not they like Justin Fields. But they also don't know whether or not they like number 1 overall prospect Caleb Williams. What are they doing?
Yeah, they are. I don't know. I think they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Should they not have dealt him by now if they wanted to go with Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of touched on this question every week for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and we've said, "Oh, he's going to get traded. He's going to get traded. He's going to get traded." Well, right now,
Well-
nothing has been happening. His trade market has plummeted.
You've been saying he should get traded. I've been saying that they should keep him
Yeah.
and trade down, collect a whole bunch of picks, and see what they have. That could be that could be a very real strategy.
Well, now it could be, because now I don't know if you're going to get any sort of real value out of Justin Fields.
I mean, do you bite the bullet and trade him for like a 5th rounder? Like that would be, as a GM, that'd be like criminal.
yeah. I mean, I know Mac Jones went for a 6th round pick, but that's Mac Jones.
The Eagles once traded Sam Bradford for a number 1.
Yeah,
Like,
you got to get at least a day 2 pick out of him.
If you can't move Justin Fields for like a 2nd rounder or a 3rd rounder, you failed as a GM. But now the problem is the market has moved so much. Every team who needed a quarterback either found somebody, found a bridge guy, or is planning to draft somebody.
Yeah.
Like, who else is out? Maybe the Raiders?
I think it's the Raiders. I don't like. Here's the thing: you got to try and do the algebra with is like you got to find a team that needs a quarterback, but then also a team that can't move up in the draft to draft one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in this year's draft.
So that would,
So it
that would
can't
be the Raiders.
It can't be Washington because they
No.
got the number 2 overall pick.
Can't be
it
New
can't
England.
be New England. They pick at 3. Atlanta just settled their problems now with Kirk Cousins.
Maybe the Vikings?
I mean, yeah, but then will the Bears be willing to trade with an interdivision rival? That's iffy.
And here's the other thing. If a team is willing to trade for the quarterback, don't you think they'd rather trade for the pick? Don't you think the Vikings would be like, give us 9 overall instead of the quarterback? Like, if I were a GM, I'd rather have the pick, go get my guy
Yeah.
who's younger, who's untarnished, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it just seems like there's not really an avenue to trade for Fields unless it's like the Raiders. The Raiders are the only team I can see that kind of fits that mold
Yeah.
of who would go after Fields.
Right. There is the possibility that they let him ride out the contract and they trade those picks, trade down, and collect a king's ransom for the number 1 overall.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a move. Another move that I've seen floated, I don't know how much I buy it, is that they trade down but still take a quarterback, sit him for a bit behind.
Well, it wouldn't be Caleb. Well, it has
no.
to be one of those
right.
project quarterbacks.
You'd have to trade down from 1 out of the top 5.
Yeah.
Like, maybe even out of the top 10.
But then you could get another first-round pick.
Well, that's the thing. You pick up extra picks. You get your guy, but somebody who's going to sit for a year, red shirt, learn a little bit, project guy like a Jordan Love or an Aaron Rodgers before him, and start him after Justin Fields leaves.
Yeah.
Because they can't. I don't think there's a world in which they draft Caleb Williams and then sit him.
No. If you're drafting Caleb Williams, you're starting him.
While I
That's not
disagree with the
happening.
notion that rookies shouldn't be forced to start, that is the expected norm. So you're going to be pressured.
If you're drafted in the top 10, you're starting your first year.
Right. You're expected to start. I don't think that should always be the case, but that's the norm now. So they'd be expected to start. And I don't know. Or do you think they're waiting until draft day to see if they can move Justin Fields?
Well-
like a team is like, it's a desperation move. They're wheeling and dealing.
The Cardinals did. Remember that with
Yeah,
Josh Rosen?
Josh Rosen,
They traded him literally the same day they picked Kyler Murray.
Yeah. So they could do something like
So
that.
there is precedent for that if they want to. But I would think that would tank his value.
I know. I was going to say, like, there's 2 thoughts on the value, that it could go up as you get closer to the draft, as teams get a little desperate and the market sort of peters out, or that the value just completely tanks because everybody's found their
I
guy.
think it tanks at this rate.
I think it
it
tanks
seems
too.
like all the teams have some sort of plan in place to go after a quarterback.
Yeah.
Or they have their quarterback settled.
Now, craziest rumor I heard, that Justin Fields does end up being moved, but as a backup somewhere. And one of the teams that I heard mentioned in this theory is none other than the Philadelphia quarterback factories.
Well, if that does happen, it better be a cheap pick.
I could definitely see Howie doing something crazy like trying to package like a fourth and another lower pick to try and snag Justin Fields as a backup. And then like week 7 or 8, there's a team who has an injury, desperate, flip Fields for a second.
I don't know about
That's
I think that's a little too idealistic.
that's how the quarterback factory works.
Yeah.
No, we did that with every backup quarterback we've had. That's how the factory works.
Yeah, I think that's
Or-
way too picture perfect.
More insidiously, does Jalen Hurts' career really follow Carson Wentz's trajectory?
Yeah, that's not good. Oh no, would this be the year that the Eagles would get a quarterback? Oh my God, Mike, why would you even put that in the atmosphere? Bad Mike.
Ah,
Bad Mike.
I'm just saying.
You go back to your room and you think about what you did.
Oh no,
Dear Lord.
I'm being football punished.
Yeah, I can't handle another quarterback controversy.
We can't stop getting into quarterback controversies.
I can't handle another one. Stop
Our
this.
entire football lives. It's just been one long extended quarterback controversy in Philadelphia.
Yes, please stop this. No. You go to your room and you think about what you did. All right?
Do you really put it past the Eagles though?
Dear Lord. No, I can't think that. Oh my God. I can't oh my God. WIP is going to go freaking nuts.
You know
We can't
you
have
know
this.
there's a non-zero chance that's how it ends up. Now, I'm just joking, obviously, but
Are you?
there's like a 10% chance that's exactly what happens.
Okay. I don't know. Dear Lord. This whole conversation bothers me now, as Herm Edwards says.
Well, let's move away from quarterbacks. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on in free agency?
I don't know, but we got to hurry. We got whatever it is, we got to hurry up because we're actually
We're over.
yeah, we're over on time. So
let's just end it on Eagles quarterback controversy. Like
Great.
every good Philadelphia broadcast,
Great.
Philadelphia sports broadcast.
Oh my God, WIP and the Fanatic are going to go ballistic. So no, I'm ending it there. I am throwing the white flag. I can't handle this.
Surrender.
Yeah. So Mikey, you during the break, you're going to go to your room and you're going to think about what you just suggested.
I'm gonna go sit in the corner.
Yeah. Think
and
about what you
reflect.
just did. Yeah. Use this as a moment of reflection. But for everybody here, we got to take a break because we got to get ready for the entertainment entree. We're going to talk about the Oscars. And then I've got some odd news for you that you got to hear in the non-fortune cookie odd news when we return. Don't go anywhere. This is the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
Ready for the weekend? Happy Friday. Hi, my name's Marie, and I'm an artist who's been making Happy Friday doodles every week for over 7 years. And now you can own my art collection in this Volume 1 and Volume 2 art series. These doodles span across multiple themes, yearly festivities, various countries, languages, and more. Both coffee table books have something for everyone and are the perfect conversation starter or gift for a friend. Really, anyone who enjoys a good weekend. Available on Amazon, Ingram, BookBaby,
Barnes & Noble,
and more. Visit happyfridaydoodles.com/books and get your copies today. Let's celebrate the best day of the week. Happy Friday.
If you go to Taco Bell at 3 in the morning, this is what you're going to get. Yeah,
That clip is already coming into play.
yes,
I love it.
already. So there you go.
Stop.
What happened?
The thing went on.
Well, how did that turn on? That was
I don't
weird.
know. The fart sound.
The fart sound turned Amazon on?
I think the fart sound turned on my Echo.
What the
I
hell?
don't know. It turned on.
What are you doing, Jeff Bezos? What are you into?
Basically, he's listening to fart sounds.
He's listening to our fart sounds. Oh my God.
I changed the trigger word to fart. I got to fart at it now. I don't know what happened.
That's really awkward. You're going to have to, excuse me.
Excuse me. How can I help you?
You may need some bowel.
Do you want me to automatically order you Pepto-Bismol? I don't know why. I don't know why I'm talking to it solely through farts now.
It actually, you fart into it.
Fart
and-
once for yes and twice for no.
No. Actually, you fart into the device, and then
Yeah.
Amazon can determine
Oh,
what
what you-
medicine you need.
Oh, right. Wow. That's next level right there. Or what you've been eating and what you want to reorder.
Oh.
I detect Cheetos. Would you like to subscribe?
Would you like a bulk order of Cheetos?
Ooh, yes, please.
Cheetos ordered.
Cheetos. That story took a turn.
Yeah.
Cheetos ordered.
Okay. All right. There you go. The latest from Jeff Bezos and Amazon.
It's amazing technology, I tell you.
Yeah. All right, we're back here on the Crispy Noodle podcast. Mike is, I don't know, I want him to be banished from any sort of football talk.
Why?
I don't know. You're talking about quarterback factories. I can't handle this in Philadelphia. I'm done. I can't.
I think I make some astute observations.
Yes, but my heart can't take this. I'm going to have to go to the doctors now because of you.
You're like, good analysis. Also, it's giving me anxiety.
You're giving me agita.
Giving me agita.
Stop this conversation. I think that's good then. How about we just stop there and we move to the second part of the show?
Let's do that. Let's
All right.
move on.
Good. Thank you. I'm glad you agree because I can't handle it.
I will take mercy.
Thank you. Because we got to get to the second part of our podcast where we go over some movie news in the entertainment entree.
And now, the latest in movies.
The Simpson guy writes to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when that guy was on the roof.
Music.
I know what that is. That's music.
Video games.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Celebrities.
You really know Warren Beatty? Yes, I do. I took a leak next to him once at the Golden Globes.
And more.
You're the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
This is the entertainment entree.
All right, and it's pretty straightforward. We're going to recap the Academy Awards. I think
what an evening.
You know, and we mentioned it last week that we weren't really going to have a preview of the Academy Awards because basically it was Oppenheimer or upsets. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think the Academy did the right thing and went Oppenheimer because Oppenheimer wins 7 Oscars, including 3 of the big 5: Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Film Editing, Cinematography, or Original Score. But I think the big one for Cinemaphiles is the Best Director. Christopher Nolan, his first Best Directing Oscar win, well-deserved. It felt like it was his time. This was the right movie for it.
And that's something I appreciate because a lot of times we talk about how somebody is due.
Yeah.
Right? And very rarely do you get somebody who's due and a movie that legitimately deserves it.
Yes.
Like when DiCaprio won his acting award.
Yeah, for The Revenant.
Controversial opinion. Did not like The Revenant. Did not like his performance.
A lot of people said this,
but Nolan and Oppenheimer was, I honestly think it was his best movie. Like,
wow.
I know Inception is obviously a personal favorite, but in terms of just pure cinematic quality, Oppenheimer is really high up there.
Yes. Very, very solid movie.
Yeah.
Very well put together.
And the awards show it's 7 of 13. It was the most nominated movie and the most wins.
Yep.
So, I mean, really showing up big time, and I think it deserved it. But there was another big winner. Poor Things had an impressive showing, winning 4 of its 11 nominations. I wrote that incorrectly. It's 11, not 12. It won Best Actress, Emma Stone, Best Production Design, Best Makeup.
She's now a 2-time Oscar winner.
2-time Oscar winner. She's like secretly one of the best young actresses in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That like everybody kind of forgets.
Yeah. 2 times.
She started with, I think she started with what, the Zombieland movies.
Well, that was one of her first ones.
And she did Easy A.
Easy A, yeah.
Which both those movies are fantastic. I think I like them because of Emma Stone. But yeah, best actress, well deserved. Best production design, best makeup, best costume. Interesting though, I think this was one of the few upsets. There were a few upsets. I think this is one of them. That Poor Things won in those technical categories over Barbie. I think a lot of people were thinking that Barbie had a real shot to win, like production design, costume, things like that, because of its unique visual flair. But anybody who's seen Poor Things, I finally got a chance to see it just before the Oscars. It is also a wildly unique, wholly creative film. Absolutely spectacular. It's really, really weird and bizarre. I think you would love it, Rich. It is like really weird.
All right, I got to bump it up on my list then.
Yeah. Fantastic movie. Well deserved of the 4 awards. There was a point in the ceremony where I was like, oh man, like, could Poor Things start upsetting Oppenheimer in a few of these categories? Because early on, it won like 2 or 3 in a row, and I was like, uh-oh. It kind of going on a little run there, but...
No. You have to give the big ones to Oppenheimer.
Yeah, definitely. The only other movie to win multiple awards was Zone of Interest. Foreign language... What?
Did you... I forget who it was. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. He was like, there are iconic movie quotes, from famous movies. Here's looking at you, kid. And then, wow, this is a very interesting zone.
It's... I assume it was an interesting zone.
What an interesting zone.
What an interesting zone. I don't know. This was the only one I didn't get a chance to see. I saw 9 of the 10 Best Picture nominees.
And you didn't see this one.
Can you believe that? Well, listen, this is the crazy thing.
Well, that's your quote. This is a very interesting zone.
This is an interesting zone. So obviously I have to go check it out after this. I was really frustrated. It was like, I think it was like Thursday before the Oscars. I was like, I got to try and watch as many of these as I could. And I noticed that Poor Things and American Fiction were both on sale to buy the digital versions. I was like, they're both nominated for a ton of awards. It's the same price as a single movie ticket, and my whole family can watch it and watch it in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. It was like $27 for both movies together. Not a big deal. Whatever.
Still cheaper, yeah.
Way cheaper.
Yeah,
If you take 4 people to 2 movies, that'll run you over $100 right there.
Right.
The very next day, what do you think Amazon Prime makes available to rent? That's right, American Fiction. And the day after the Oscars, what do you think Hulu makes available for free? That's right, Poor Things.
Oh, wow.
So in my quest to watch all of the Oscar nominees, I ended up losing out to Amazon Prime and Hulu. But
you're down $27.
I'm down $27 for 2 amazing films.
That's
really
not
good.
the worst story I've heard.
No,
we've had
we've had worse.
Yeah, we've had worse stories.
But back to Zone of Interest. I will watch it at some point. The only other movie to win multiple awards, it won 2, Best International Feature Film and Best Sound. A big upset of the evening, though, Rich. I think this might be of particular interest to you. Killers of the Flower Moon, Marty Scorsese's latest flick, was completely blanked.
Yeah.
0 out of 10 nominations, joining Maestro and Past Lives as the only Best Picture nominees to not get a single award for the evening. As the 3rd most nominated film, it didn't get a single one. I mean, what's your reaction? I mean, is that just major snub or?
No, I can believe it. I mean, this year was Oppenheimer. Like you put Killers of the Flower Moon up against Oppenheimer, it's Oppenheimer. It's the perfect movie for the right time. This is Nolan's time. Like, it's just everything lined up perfectly for this movie to win.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. It's.
Yeah.
Even if you think they're on the same platform,
they're not.
It's Oppenheimer. It's got to get the nod.
Yeah. It's
it matches up.
It does, and I really do believe
Scorsese's already had his moments. Like, it's definitely. I hate it is sad that you do have to kind of mention like whose time it is, but it is. That's a factor in these awards.
Yeah, and right now Christopher Nolan he's Hollywood. I mean, he does this thing where he makes approachable cinematic movies like Inception, Interstellar, Oppenheimer. They are cinematic, but also they are average viewer friendly.
Right. And he hadn't won.
At all yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important deciding factor here. I will say this about Killers of the Flower Moon. As I continued to watch Best Picture nominees, I really did start to question why it garnered so many awards. Like when I saw Poor Things and American Fiction, they immediately jumped above Killers of the Flower Moon for me in my personal rankings. There could be an argument that Killers of the Flower Moon is like just at or outside the top 5 films of the year. I would be curious to hear other people's opinions, but for me, it goes Oppenheimer, Poor Things, American Fiction, and then Killers of the Flower Moon is tied solidly for me with like The Holdovers and maybe Past Lives in that like 4 to 6 range. So, I don't think it's that odd that it didn't win a single award. There's just so many other great movies nominated. And it's not a knock. I loved Killers of the Flower Moon. It just was in that weird position where there was just a really, really stacked category this year.
Yep. All right. Let's get to some other topics that you want to mention here.
Yeah. So some other big upsets in addition to.
I know you're big into animation. So what's happening in animation?
So animated film, The Boy and the Heron won over Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man was the favorite, but Boy and the Heron won. Studio Ghibli is, for anybody who's into animated films, is one of the best to ever do it, winning their second Oscar for Best Animated Film. Many years they had gone toe-to-toe with Pixar, and Pixar had won. Pixar kind of has lost that mantle as the best animated studio. You see a lot more wins from other studios nowadays. I saw Boy and the Heron. It was a film. It was...
Wow.
Look, I really
Oh no, did I hit a sore spot here? Are you
I enjoyed it, but it is a Studio Ghibli film where it kind of doesn't make any sense and it's like all very metaphorical and abstract. It was artistically beautiful.
Is it like The Artist?
It was no. No, it was artistically very beautiful.
Roma? Is it the Roma of the Crash? Is it the Crash of the animated world?
It's not even that. It was a legitimately good movie. I just think Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was way better. I think that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was more unique in terms of its art style. I think that its story was more cohesive. I think that its characters were more interesting. And I thought that its action and its on-screen displays were just of a higher quality. Boy and the Heron was very good. That's not taking anything away from it.
Well, you're not the only one to be surprised by it because the people behind that film weren't there for that one.
Boy and the Heron?
Yeah. They didn't. They weren't there to accept the award.
They probably didn't think they were going to get it.
Yeah. Whoops.
So, yeah. So just a strange one for me. Another big upset, we touched on Barbie not winning any production or costume awards. It was, very firmly in the running. Best sound, this is a personal one for me. I haven't seen Zone of Interest, like I said, but Oppenheimer's sound design, I thought was incredible. And I thought it was a little weird that Oppenheimer didn't win that one. But sound is one of those things that's very hard to judge.
But, I gotta give it up to the Red Letter Media people. They always seem to, point out something that you may have noticed subconsciously, but maybe you didn't, realize it.
Okay.
The Red Letter Media guys loved Oppenheimer, but they had a critique that when they were just doing talking scenes,
right?
It seemed like the music score really got cranked up, and they did a spoof on it that if Christopher Nolan was to direct 12 Angry Men, he would just have constant score throughout the entire.
That
just as they're going back and forth.
That is a good point. That just because the score and the effects are good doesn't mean that the mixing and the design was good.
Right.
And I think that, now that you frame it that way, you're right. And anybody can just crank the score and just have it completely drown out the nuance.
Yeah.
So you make a fair point there. You and Red Letter Media make a fair point there.
So for that topic specifically, best sound, I could see that.
Okay. But the biggest upset of the evening, a really shocking one, was Emma Stone winning over Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. I touched on this. I think that Emma Stone deserved it. If you watch Poor Things, you'll see what I'm talking about. Lily Gladstone gives an absolutely amazing performance in Killers of the Flower Moon. Very powerful, very captivating. I think Emma Stone had to do more because of the character she was playing. She was playing a woman who has been, without spoiling too much, brought back in like a Frankenstein-esque tale. And just the way that the physical movements, the speech patterns, the physicality of it all, I think that she did more than Lily Gladstone in terms of, a full body performance. Now, I will say that the look on Emma Stone's face when she won kind of to me suggested she thought that Lily Gladstone should have won as well.
I mean, she already won one. It's tough to do a repeat.
Yeah. And to be fair to these two actresses, they were neck and neck. They both won minor awards. One won the BAFTA, one won the SAG, and they split the Golden Globes because they were in different categories, comedy and drama. So it really was a toss-up between those two. It was a coin flip. I personally think Emma Stone deserved it. Not taking anything away from Lily Gladstone. I personally just liked Emma Stone's performance better. Let's talk about the ceremony itself, though.
Yep.
Jimmy Kimmel was awful.
Yep, you don't like Jimmy Kimmel.
I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I won't touch on that too much. I thought it was really weird. A weird moment for me was when they played the instrumental version of I'm Just Ken after the documentary winner gives this heart-wrenching speech about the war in Ukraine. And then immediately and then they cut to commercial. It's it's just really...
That was odd timing.
Read the room.
Yeah.
Read the room. But I gotta say, one of the wildest moments was the actual performance of I'm Just Ken. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling was fantastic.
Just took the ball and ran with it.
Took the ball and ran with it. But then Slash showed up.
Yeah, Slash was there.
And was playing on
Your
the
boy.
track. My boy Slash. I was sitting there. Of all the people, you'd be like, pick a random musician to appear at the Oscars. Never would I think oh yeah, Slash playing on I'm Just Ken.
Yeah.
So totally random. But
just for you, Mike.
But amazing.
They knew you were watching it.
They did. They did it just for me. John Cena had a great moment where he showed up.
Yeah.
Naked. Nude on stage.
Yeah.
That was a great bit that they did. But again, the big talking point was the
Best
reveal
Picture.
for Best Picture.
Yep.
And they got to put Al Pacino out to pasture.
No. They got to put all of these people,
all the 70-plus crowd.
When they are coming up with the list of presenters,
oh man,
anybody that is 70 and over, get them to do one of the other awards. Get them to do best sound, best whatever. When it comes to Best Picture, that needs to be someone who can read the room, read the script, read the teleprompter.
Remembers who the nominees are.
Yeah.
Pacino comes out. We've seen the Oscars. Everybody kind of knows the vibe, right? And the nominees for Best Picture are Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon. And they show the little clip, everything. Al Pacino comes up and goes, there's 10 movies.
Here we go.
Only one can win. And for that, I gotta go to the envelope. I see Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
and there was a pause because nobody was like, is that the winner? Is that a nominee? Is he just saying that he saw Oppenheimer?
By the way, before I open this up, I saw all these movies.
If you watch the broadcast, I was actively watching it live, and I was like, did Oppenheimer win? And the whole crowd reacted the same way. And then eventually the music kicked up, but it was just so...
I saw Barbie.
Yeah, right. I saw Barbie. It was so weird.
Yeah. For the love of God, anybody who is 70 and over should not be doing Best Picture at this rate.
No.
There's a bad track record. I'm sorry if that's ageist, but there's a bad track record between this and the duo that did the La La Land Moonlight fiasco.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
that was
Warren
another
Beatty
one.
And who else?
I don't remember who it was, but they announced La La Land as the winner.
Yeah,
La La Land goes up on stage.
When it clearly said Moonlight on the card.
Oh man.
Yeah. Like, no. From here on out, if you're over 70, no. You cannot deliver the Best Picture nominee.
They should do it. Hear me out. They should do it like reality TV style. They get all the nominees on stage and they show spotlights on them all. And they go, and the nominees are. And they do the slow reality TV show pan to each face, right? And then they pause. Dramatic,
just don't,
pregnant pause. And they just have the announcer read it. Just have it pre-recorded.
Just don't do an older celebrity at this rate. We can't trust them. It doesn't work.
Or make the prompter like even larger. I don't. Do they have to use a prompter?
I don't know. Al Pacino just looked like he was late for a dinner. Like, oh, I guess I got to read this. I'm going to open up this envelope.
I am reading here that the producer said that the reading of the nominees was cut because they were worried the show is going to be long. It's always long.
They were early too.
No, they were late.
No,
they start
for this year's.
They bumped it an hour forward, but they started 10 minutes late.
What is this, daylight savings time? What the hell's happening?
They were supposed to start at 7, but they started at like 7:10. I don't know why. I don't know how that happens. Like, you have control over it. Like, if you didn't get to everybody on the red carpet, be like, oh well, too bad. We got to go to the actual live event. I don't know.
Yeah, just put somebody who can read the teleprompter, read the room, and read the winner competently. Just please, can we do that? Why is this so difficult?
They should just have on the card written out, because they don't. They just have the title of the movie. They should have it spelled out completely. And the winner is, Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I see Oppenheimer.
Question mark.
It was really, really confusing.
Yeah.
And also, he's like decrepitly old.
I mean, he's got to be 80 something.
He's up there.
I mean, literally, he was what, 25 for Godfather?
He's 83.
Yeah, like what do you expect? He's 83.
You got to get somebody younger. You gotta.
For Best Picture, yes, please.
Why don't you get the previous winner, like they did with all the acting awards?
Just anybody young. Dear God. Somebody that can read. I shouldn't say young, because young people can't read either. So just anybody that can read.
Is that conspiracy theory that Gen Z can't read?
I don't know.
That's a real. People are saying Gen Alpha and Gen Z can't read.
I kind of would believe it at this rate.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
They should just have the announcer read it. Somebody whose job it is to read script.
Yeah, at this rate, yeah. All right. Is there anything else you want to mention? Because I got to try and plug this along.
Yeah, no, I think that was everything to talk about for the Oscars. I strongly recommend that everybody go and check out those few films that I mentioned, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, American Fiction, all incredible films, well deserving of their awards.
All right. Well, I got to go to my soundboard here.
Yep. And what do you see?
I see news.
We've been talking about cool and its ramifications and how it applies to the hip scene. But maybe you could give us some examples now of the opposite of cool, uncool. Just exactly what is uncool?
My nipples look like milk duds.
Holy shnikes.
It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
It's not of this world. I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence we're facing.
How you doing? Me? I'm doing great.
Manda bastards. I don't make this stuff up.
I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts. That'll be $4, baby. You want fries with that?
I seen the celery dance across the baseball fields.
You had me at meat tornado.
No, go past this. Past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Okay. What does that mean?
And now it's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
So sit back, get everything you need to get from the kitchen. Be sure and empty the bladders. Go to the bathroom, because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Odd News.
That's right, everybody. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news. Here in this segment, Rich researches the news, he reads the news, and I react to the news. He finds a weird and wacky story and keeps it hidden from me, which ensures that all of my reactions are my genuine gut reactions to hearing these stories for the very first time. I don't know what's about to happen. You guys don't know what's about to happen. And even Rich doesn't know what's about to happen because these stories always take us down wacky and wild paths. And I'm ready to get started. Where are we heading to?
Okay, so you know how we started off the show with a little bit of national news and politics?
Yeah.
So for some odd reason, we're going to start off the odd news with some international news.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't gone international in a while.
No.
Oh, boy.
Yep. Hey, remember Chernobyl? I'm just going right off the. I got my odd news here.
And I
see Chernobyl.
It's going to be the meme that keeps on meming. Do you remember Chernobyl? Yes, Rich, I do. I was there.
Oh my God, I'm just it's getting late.
Do you remember Chernobyl? Enlighten me. The story hasn't even started. He's already gone.
I don't know why the phrase said like that. Well, yeah.
All right. Well, what?
Yeah, just casually, you know.
Yeah. Oh, hey, remember Chernobyl? Yes, I do remember Chernobyl. That horrible, horrible tragedy. What about Chernobyl? How can there?
Yeah. I got some interesting news for you on the Chernobyl front.
Is it from Chernobyl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because scientists have said that after doing a study of worms, they've discovered that after a few generations of rapidly reproducing in the area, the worms are immune to radiation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's.
Oh, now you fucked up. You have fucked up now.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's kind of like 3.6 Ronkin. You know, not great, not
No,
terrible.
great, not terrible. That's right. So they're like super worms.
Yeah.
They're immune to. Are we gonna get like instead of like a Spider-Man, a Worm Man or something?
Possibly. In a new study, scientists said that nematodes.
Yes, of course. Do you remember nematodes? That was definitely your Pacino moment.
I see on my news report nematodes.
Nematodes? Oh my God.
Well, anyway, yeah, they've been studying these nematodes, which are tiny worms that rapidly reproduce. They've gone through as many as 10 generations since the Chernobyl accident happened, which Chernobyl was, I think, 84, 85? So we're talking about, 40 years?
Yeah.
So that's pretty fast. That's like a new generation every 4 years.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's
So
quick.
that's a lot of evolution to happen.
Right.
The researchers gathered these worms from the local soil samples near the Chernobyl plant. Many of them were found in rotting fruit and other materials that tested for local levels of radiation. The scientists then took the worms back to New York University to freeze and study them. So if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty, you got to freeze them before you can study them.
They couldn't just study them right away?
No.
Okay.
Had to get them to the lab.
All right.
I'm wrong. 1986. So almost 40 years. I mean,
essentially 40. That's 38, 40, same difference.
Yeah, I was almost there.
Yeah.
But according to the scientists at New York University, that yes, these worms are more resistant to ionizing radiation.
Interesting.
So
I mean, we're watching evolutionary adaptations,
Yes.
like in a couple decades. That's incredible.
Right. Yeah, this is kind of a whole different perspective when it comes to evolution.
So maybe if they had just let people keep living in Chernobyl, they would have eventually become. Is that what they're positing here?
That's what we should do.
We should go back to Chernobyl. Don't worry. In about 400 human years, you'll be immune.
This whole time, we moved people away from Chernobyl.
We should be moving them into Chernobyl. And you know what their ad campaign is going to be? Do you remember Chernobyl?
Yes. Hey, you remember Chernobyl?
See, you didn't realize, but you're actually working on their marketing team. Do you remember Chernobyl?
Sure
Welcome
you
back.
do.
Bring the family.
Come on back. It's safe now.
Do you remember nematodes? It's single-handedly the most confusing and most compelling ad campaign that's ever been run.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, so the worms are immune. But what ultimately does this mean for everybody and Chernobyl, I guess?
Are
they moving towards it being potentially safe to resettle? What's the deal here?
Well, the lead scientist on it, Dr. Tintori, wants to reiterate that this does not mean that Chernobyl is safe by any means, but it does suggest that resilient animals can withstand extreme radiation and perhaps mutate to fight that. They also said that the worms, despite high radiation exposure, their genomes were not damaged at all. So maybe it is an actual thing where you, quote, have a superpower to resist the natural radiation in the area.
That's pretty cool.
But had to go through 10 different generations.
Right. And for humans, that's a long, long time.
Yeah, we're looking at,
What's a generation for humans? I think it's what is it, 7 to 14 years or longer than that?
I think longer than that, because
that's how they measure millennial, Gen X.
Yeah, no, they're talking about actual lifespans.
Lifespans, yeah. So you're looking at closer to a couple hundred years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But promising.
That's right.
Get the people, get the
families
ready.
If you move to Chernobyl right now, your great grandkids will be immune to radiation and potentially, not guaranteed, but potentially become the Hulk.
Yeah, and you'll be the first one there to get precious property.
That's right. Real estate prices have never been cheaper in Chernobyl.
Buy low, sell high.
That's right. You got to get into the market before everybody starts developing it.
Remember Chernobyl? Sure you do. So you get in now.
Not great, not terrible.
Right, it's not great, not terrible. So get in now.
Oh, man. I mean, if I saw that ad, I'd buy real estate in Chernobyl. Do you think you can buy real estate in Chernobyl?
Realistically, I don't think so, no.
I'm going to try anyway and sit on it for a couple decades, see what happens.
Also, technically, didn't it just get invaded by Russia? That's also a little...
That does put a damper on things.
The most understated statement ever. Ooh, that does put a little damper on things.
It does put a damper on things. Oh, that's really going to ruin my real estate portfolio. Oh, God.
Hey, you remember Russia?
Hey, remember Russia?
You remember Putin? Whatever happened to him?
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Oh, my God. I can't believe I let off a segment with that.
I can. It was brilliant.
Thank you.
Oh.
All right. How about we leave the world of international news? Let's get to more traditional Florida news, which I'm...
back home.
Yeah. Let me get comfortable again. So let's go back to Florida.
Now, who is this guy in Florida?
It's Florida, and they're crazy.
See, you don't need to ask if I remember it, because who could ever forget Florida?
Right. You can't forget Florida.
Right, exactly.
So, no. No need to remember Florida.
All right. So
Florida is in your soul.
Florida is eternal and perpetual.
Yes.
So what's going on in Florida?
All right. We're going to Jensen Beach, Florida in this story, and we're going to follow the case of 60-year-old Leighton Paul Nauman.
That was a name. Leighton Paul Nauman?
Yeah.
Not Laterman, but Nauman.
Yes, he's now, man.
Not then or later, but now.
Now, man.
Okay.
Right. So this 60-year-old sound engineer decided he was going to go to the beach on Saturday afternoon.
Okay. All right. He's an elderly gent. He has a respectable profession.
Yep.
How does this go horribly awry?
Well, he decides that he's going to get some action on the beach.
Oh, no.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
Yes, he's going to the beach. Sole purpose, I'm going to get some action. I'm going to get laid.
Okay. Well, good
actually,
luck to him.
I'm not going to run on the sand or go in the ocean. No, my goal is I'm going to get laid. So, what do you think a tactic is for a 60-year-old to try and get laid in Florida?
Knowing Florida and knowing the odd news, he probably just whipped it out.
Yeah,
and just started.
That's a good starting
Did
point.
he start like windmilling, maybe? He's old. It's hanging low. He's feeling good.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
Am I off the mark?
You're almost there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're almost there. So instead, what Nauman tried to do was he went to a clothing optional spot.
And his clothing was not optional. It was off.
That's right. He was seated in a recliner chair, naked, but also had whips, chains, and a note saying, "Please feel free to investigate me gently."
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
Yes!
Whoa!
Full-blown 0 to 100.
I was not expecting that.
I guess you could say you had yourself a man-witch. Yeah. Ooh.
Yes.
I really like the wording of that note. Please feel free. It's so proper.
Yes.
Please feel free to investigate. What do you say? Investigate me gently?
Gently, yes.
It's simultaneously
Not rough.
Not rough.
Yeah, you got to build up. You got to build up the tension.
You start gently, then you move your way up to the whips.
Yeah.
You don't start at the whips. You got to
gently.
It's all about the foreplay. It's simultaneously like very formal, but also very creepy.
Yes.
Investigate.
Investigate, yeah.
That's a good word choice, but also the worst word choice.
Yes. Exactly.
Oh, man. So I like to imagine that he's sitting, is he just like holding the whip, or does he just have it near him?
No, he has like a little table next to the recliner chair.
Okay, so he's laying out all the instruments.
Yes, there's rings, whips, metal chains, and then the note, "Please feel free to investigate me gently."
So and
he's just laying there.
He's just laying there, but is he like awake? Is he napping? Is he watching people?
Yeah, he fell asleep. He's 60 years old.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, is he sitting there just like staring down people and
he's
pointing
waiting.
to the note, or is he talking with people? Is he trying to lure them over? What's his game plan?
Yeah, he's waiting to get
That's so creepy.
participant.
He probably has. No, I'm not going to say that. How does the story continue?
So the rules. This beach did allow nudity.
Okay.
But
so he didn't do anything wrong then. Is this considered solicitation?
Yeah.
But it's just a note. Does a note count?
Yeah. The cop said that the scenario is, quote, unacceptable at a Florida beach.
Stop.
What the hell? Okay.
Oh
Amazon's trying to get in on the action. I see you've read about chains. Would you like more information?
I'm concerned that thing is going to do something now. Stop.
You have read a story about Florida. Would you like to go to this public beach?
It's going to order me something terrible.
You've read a story about rings, metal chains. Would you like to order?
Placing an order for whips. Oh, God.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, you're dancing on that line of solicitation for sex. Yeah. That's
So
what
a
the cops are
a
saying.
note counts as solicitation then. I guess if it's public.
Yeah, I mean you're at a public beach,
a public place, and there's a note.
I mean, even though it's a a clothing optional beach, it's still a public beach.
I'm just trying to think
Are
about.
you trying to be his lawyer? He's trying to find a way.
I'm
around
trying to
this?
think like how close was the table? Was it clear that the table was his, or could the table have? Could there be plausible deniability?
No, I think it's right
that-
next to him.
It's right next to him.
And he's just.
What if he was napping and somebody left the note there?
Why does he have whips and chains?
Maybe he's a street performer. He's doing the people that do the whip thing dance. That's what he did.
Naked.
It's clothing optional.
He's gonna whip a lot of things.
I'm like full on being this guy's lawyer right now.
He's got a lot of whips to use.
He's got a lot of whips, yeah.
And a lot of.
I see nothing wrong with
a lot of things to dangle.
I see nothing wrong with my client's behavior.
Well, unfortunately, cops said that the scenario is unacceptable at a public beach.
So nobody took him up on his offer?
No.
That's really disappointing. He was just hoping for a good time.
No. According to cops, they said they asked him why he was doing this, and he said he was trying to, quote, arrange a sexual encounter or maybe go home with someone's phone number.
Well, look, you can't admit to the crime if you want to get away with it.
Yeah, there you go. Your defense is shot now.
I have to drop him as a client.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Damn. My career had just started. I really love the fact that do you think he would have had more or less success if he had just whipped it out?
Well, he did. He was naked.
Oh, he did whip it out.
Yeah.
He just had extra whips.
Right. He had extra. He had accoutrement, if you will.
I feel like he would have been more successful. He just tried to chat up some people, but they always got to take it to an 11.
Yeah.
These odd news people.
Yeah. I mean,
it's very brazen of him.
I think it's one of those deals where maybe you want to say he's not hurting anybody, but at the same time, he's being creepy as hell.
Oh, super creepy.
Yeah.
He's inviting people to investigate him.
There was a bit of a nastiness last night, yes? Some very extreme nastiness, yes? Yes.
Although the word investigate, it doesn't have to be sexual.
He said investigate me gently.
Right. That means don't, come over, look at him, and punch him in the face.
No, I'm just going to look over here, good sir. Oh, yes. A very, very fine body.
Very good, very good, yes.
Yes.
Keep up the good work.
Yes.
A fine tan you've got there.
Yes.
No tan lines.
What? What else are you going to investigate?
I don't know.
Nice whip here, sir.
I just feel bad for this guy because his strategy was just so outlandish. You got to give him an A for effort.
You've got quite the collection of rings here, I see. What else are you going to do?
Oh, man.
So, the cops weren't buying any excuses here.
No.
He was arrested for indecent exposure.
See, now that is odd because it's a clothing optional beach.
True, but I think it's just...
I don't think the cops have much to stand on here. I think it's going to get overturned. What? Uh-oh. Oh, no. Is this the other shoe?
No. I think you're going to like this part. He was arrested for indecent exposure and then another misdemeanor, genital presentation.
I've never heard that one. But it's like, oh, just like, what do you mean? Isn't indecent... I didn't know that could be a separate thing. There's indecent... right, it's like...
Genital presentation.
Behold!
Take a look.
So, there's indecent exposure.
I've got balls of steel.
Right. That's how you present them. You got indecent exposure. You got lewd and lascivious behavior. That's when you're doing stuff with the exposure.
Yeah, so I guess he's not doing that. So he's clear on that.
Presentation. That's like... It's like in between...
Is this a PowerPoint?
Yeah, right.
Welcome to my PowerPoint presentation.
Like, you see, officer, I was fully clothed, but I did have pictures up on my slideshow.
Here, slide one. Here's why you should bang me.
Slide one. He's got like the PowerPoint animations. Star wipe. Top reasons to investigate me gently. 1, penis. 2, maybe not a crime, maybe.
3, balls.
3 balls.
I've got balls of steel.
And it's like, thank you for watching my presentation. What does that mean? What was it? Genital presentation?
Oh my God.
Do you put like frilly, like
genital presentation? That's the actual second charge.
What annoys
misdemeanor.
me is that I can't even look this charge up because it's going to be weird.
Well, either way, it must not have been that serious. He was able to post bond and was released later that day. So
he's going to be back at it soon, presenting his genitals
with his PowerPoint.
That is, we've been doing this for a long time. We've done a lot of odd news. That's the first time I've heard the charge of genital presentation.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one either.
Because indecent exposure already covers being naked. So presentation means that, like,
he was presenting himself.
Yes, but how does genital presentation elevated above indecent exposure? Like, did he have garnish on it? Like, did he have like some kind of
he had the accoutrement.
Do you think the accoutrement is what kicks it up a notch?
Yeah, that's his presentation. Like, not only can you see my lovely penis,
puts a little spotlight on it. It's got like a little ring light. Like,
I have a little note here. I have my whips and chains.
Was he engorged? Was it statuesque? Is that the presentation?
That's a yes.
That's what it was. He was performing.
Yeah, that's what it was.
No, but like, what makes it a presentation and not just exposure?
I think it's the toys in the note.
The toys in the note.
This is now a presentation.
Again, so formal.
Come back in 15 minutes. I'll do my PowerPoint again.
Right. We'll take a short break.
Yeah.
When we reconvene.
We'll run through the PowerPoint again.
Oh, man.
All
wow.
right.
That is a seminar that I don't want any part of.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Hey, remember Chernobyl?
Remember Chernobyl? Oh, man. This has been a weird episode.
Yes,
between Aaron Rodgers running for vice president and Chernobyl and Al Pacino and the presentation of genitals.
What an episode.
Man.
This had everything you want.
This episode was a presentation.
Yes, it was. And we thank you guys for tuning into our little presentation, our little show, if you will. It's getting late. We need to start wrapping this up. This is a crazy show that we just put on. We want to thank you guys for supporting us. If you like what you heard, make sure you follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, X, Instagram, all that fun stuff. But most importantly, make sure you have a way to get every episode that gets released sent straight to you. We have two main ways to do that. First one is on YouTube. Go to our YouTube page, hit that subscribe button so that you get the video podcast sent straight to your account and you can watch it as soon as it gets released. Second way to do that is on Spotify. Go to our Spotify page. The video podcast goes there, but you can also put Spotify in the background and listen to us as an audio-only podcast. And using Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you can take us on the go with Spotify and use us as your entertainment for your commute. If you're going to Chernobyl, you're going to Florida, you're going...
Just a quick road trip to Chernobyl, yeah.
Or if you're going to meet a presidential candidate to see if you're going to get Secret Service security, you can take us on the go as well with those features. So make sure you have a way to get the podcast sent to you every week.
Yeah, so many ways to get to check out the Crispy Noodle podcast. But if you need to get in touch with us individually to share your sports, entertainment, or odd news stories, you can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
And I'm at Rich Liebig, RichLiebig. Find us on X. Let us know what's happening. Any odd news stories you want us to talk about, send it my way. But for right now, we're going to end it. What a night. What a night of celebration and exhibitions.
It was something else.
That's right. That'll do it. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Later. Bye-bye, all you fine peoples. Good night.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.